This is the story of how I made the biggest model I've ever built in a week. It's tabletop time. I'm Dave, and today we are tackling a project so massive that we cannot contain it in the Tabletop Time studio. We're gonna need every inch of space available to us. Today's video is sponsored by Hearthstone Mercenaries, and like every good game of Hearthstone takes place in a tavern, today we're going to be building a massive two-story tavern with interior to get it done. We're gonna need our resident Murray. Okay, hey Jen, can you order a new Murray? Yeah, that one's expired, cheers. So luckily, to help us pick the right tavern for the project, we have Rob on hand. Rob, which one are we going with?
Lion's Pride Inn, the most recognizable inn in the Warcraft universe. It's the first inn you'll experience as a human player. It's right outside the Alliance capital of Stormwind, and I think it's going to be the perfect inn for Dave to try and make this week on his project. So there you go, Dave, Lion's Pride Inn.
That's some good whale milk. All right, so we're pushing ourselves on this project. This is a big one, and we're gonna need a bit of Jeremy's CAD knowledge to get it done. Here's the tavern, Jeremy. Do you reckon you can get it done?
Sure can. Let's get into it. Oh, so here we are in Fusion 360, an awesome CAD program. And I got my hands on the model and just cut it in half and started working on that bottom layer until I had it completely done. Looks all right, it's a good base to work off, right? From there, we did the top layer. Damn! And after that top layer was done, we laid it out to laser cut and got straight into that.
You recording? Let's get this.
Just arrived.
Is this the Murray?
Yeah.
Yes, I love these. Hello? This will be good. It was the beginning of day one, and it was time to get really hands-on with the MDF pieces that Jeremy had made. We realized pretty quickly just how huge this project was going to be. When I mentioned that Jeremy's CAD design was going to be instrumental in making this project come to life, I was not exaggerating. This sort of clipped together frame that he's built for us is a really fantastic way to do a lot of the work for us. We knew it would be vital to get the frame glued as quickly as possible, so that was the very first thing we did in this project. That way we could go and set about detailing it while the glue was drying and providing strength. But if Murray thought the bottom floor was all that we'd be working on, he was in for a big surprise. We have more building.
Oh yeah?
Ta-da! It became even more abundantly clear the scale of this project. We were excited to dive into the detailing, but we made sure to set and glue the top floor first. There are some awkward angles on the top of this building, so we had gotten Jeremy to design the MDF so that it would support the building's upper walls leaning outwards. Thankfully, the glue we were using had a good bit of tack to it, so it actually held the MDF upright, and we didn't need to build some kind of convoluted scaffold. It is the beginning of day 2, and while we maybe haven't got together as much as we thought we would, there's a lot of positive decisions being made. We have a clear direction. I think all of the interior being finished today would be, yeah, that would make me happy. I don't know if it's realistic, but that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. So let's see if we can get it done. While Murray was carving balsa, I used a roller to roll flat the air drying clay, and then a sculpting tool to carve in flagstones onto the ground. One of the key features of the room that we hadn't tackled yet was the main staircase, so Murray set about designing it. With Murray working on measuring and cutting that staircase out, I was left to clean up a whole bunch of 3D prints. These wonderful little Warcraftian chairs that would fill out the tavern nicely. Now it came the important decision of how we were going to start painting and colouring the building. I had come up with the idea of using actual wood stains and varnishes for this. Up against the wood stains were some Citadel washes. Some of these were used on a primed surface and some on the raw balsa wood. But ultimately we decided pretty much unanimously that the wood stains worked very well. With stains chosen, I rolled out a bunch of milliput and went to my trusty Green Stuff World rollers. This was to create a brick texture that I would later be using to clad a chimney and fireplace for the building. We tried different materials, milliput, green stuff, and a mix of the two, but found ultimately that the amount of materials that we were consuming meant that an alternate would need to be sourced for all the other stonework in the room. The air drying clay had worked to some degree, but it had cracked and I wasn't entirely satisfied with the outcome. So for any future brickwork on the project, and there was a lot of it, I'd need to come up with an alternative. And I remembered an old crafting favorite that I always used to use. Foam core. You actually peel off one side of it. It's 2 pieces of card or paper with a high density foam in the middle, and then you can use that foam to just carve in decorations. It's fantastic for doing castle brickwork or anything like that. I wish I'd thought of this to begin with because I probably would have done more elements on the building with this method. How are you feeling, Murray?
Tired, but pretty proud of what we've done so far.
You are the confidence man. I love it. I am the pessimist. I've been sitting here since probably an hour into day one, like, we'll never get this done, we'll never get this finished, but it's looking interesting. We'll have a look at the temporary. Here we go.
Swivel.
Swivel time. We have building. We have rough structure. I'm excited. I'm actually super pumped. So, see you tomorrow. Hopefully I can catch some of your optimism.
Yeah, I mean...
We've got some brickwork drying. It's all happening. It is morning. It is day 3 and we have got a Jen.
Hello.
Welcome. What do you think?
I think that you guys have a hell of a lot of work to do.
Lucky you're here to carry most of the way.
That was uplifting.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the vote of confidence.
You've done so much. It's really coming together, but my gosh, this project is huge.
It's massive. It's exciting. It's going to be really cool. All right, well, we don't really have enough time in the day to stand around and sort of
Drink coffee.
waste time. This is efficiency gaining. So it's 5 minutes now and buys me 5 minutes per hour for the next 6 hours.
All right,
Yeah. All right, well, let's get down to it.
let's do it.
They've shuffled off to do their stuff, so I'll just stand here.
The fireplace was built up around balsa to give it its frame, and then the nice, even, and easily carved top part. I used plasticard to add some of the detailing, and then set aside to fill out any gaps in it and paint later on. Now that we'd committed to our wood staining method, it was time to go in and stain a bunch of the floorboards. And with the carved texture soaking in that stain, we were actually really satisfied with the result at this stage. It very rapidly gave us the effect we were looking for, and that was only due to a choice of materials. Using a wood stain on wood, who would have thought about it? With some elements built offside, now it was time for some of the more satisfying moments of the build, piecing together all of the little elements we had painstakingly made into the building. This point was putting in the floorboards, and it felt good. And the final satisfying touch, gluing in Murray's precisely built staircase. Shunk. At the end of the day, Rob's cheeky hands came into the project and he started to build some banisters for us. We made them just by carving balsa to shape, using a saw to cut it out, effectively just building it by hand.
Hello, I'm Davney. Welcome to my tavern. This video has been sponsored by Hearthstone Mercenaries, a brand new game mode for Hearthstone. Now, my tavern's had a lot of larks in it lately, but it's been much better since all the adventurers have been going out and fulfilling their bounties. And you too could be an adventurer in Hearthstone Mercenaries, tackling bounties. You can take down these bounties as your favorite well-known Blizzard hero, picking and planning your strategy together. Once you've got the guile together to take down your target, you can grab your bounty, come home and upgrade your heroes. And those heroes can be upgraded for the PvP and PvE modes. Oh, I really hope I'm not the E in that, given that I'm some nameless NPC. And there's just oodles of strategy. Put together your best team to tackle any bounty that comes in front of you. Unlock new mercenaries as you play and earn coins for Hearthstone. Make sure you check out all the news for this big new update by clicking the link in the description below. So, that's it from me, your friendly tavern keep, Davney. Yes, remember the name, for the Dav cinematic universe is only ever growing. Bye!
What are you working on, Murray?
I'm doing the outer pillars on each of the exterior corners.
And I am working on the brickwork on the inside of the tavern. So it was a good thing that we'd moved into the tavern because we had some guests. That's right, day 4 fell on the fortnightly day we do our exclusive stream with our mini Patreons, where we got to hang out with them in a more intimate environment, chat about the projects we were working on, and otherwise have a pretty good time. It was great to have that little bit of mental break and the company while we were working on our project. Murray put together some awesome window frames, including the shutters, and then we printed out the actual texture of the windows of Lion's Pride Inn, and we stained them with some oil so they'd become nice and see-through. This would help to diffuse the light, as we planned on taking a whole bunch of sweet reveal shots with gorgeous, warm light coming through the windows. Now, a big part of Hearthstone Mercenaries is picking your bounty that you're going to be taking down. I wanted to have a hunt board, like a bounty board or a quest board, in our tavern. So I carved up some balsa, put in some wood grain, and then sprayed down a whole bunch of gradients, finishing up with some slimy grime to give that natural wood weathering. Maybe these logs were left outside for a while before they were cobbled together to make the bounty board. To finish it up, we needed some bounties, and what better bounties than the cast of Tabletop time. Inns in World of Warcraft often have a Hearthstone board on them, which was a great opportunity for me to kind of get a little bit meta and make my own Hearthstone board to put into the world. So that's right, in our video sponsored by Hearthstone Mercenaries, we built a tavern from World of Warcraft, and inside it is a board upon which you can play Hearthstone.
All right, so where are we at? We definitely bit off too much. The roof isn't even a concept. The top floor is basically not even started. Project deadline, the end of this week. It's the end of this week. I'm gonna take some stuff home and work with Jen. We're gonna push through. It's a very, very cool, but hopefully we can have something for you.
Just interrupting the flow of this video to let you know that it's the weekend. I've come into the work in progress project because Dave's been working his guts out with everyone else in the Tabletop studio to get this project done. It's honestly nothing to do with the sponsor asking too much of us. It's simply because we, and Dave especially, really wanted to just make something incredible, even though we had a pretty short amount of time. And I just appreciate the crap out of that we have a studio full of people that work their guts out because they want to make incredible content. So I wanted to sneak in here and give him a little surprise when he comes into work tomorrow. All right, I'm all set, ready to go. All I need is to get my balsa wood. That's all that's left. Is to go to the hardware store and get some balsa wood. All right, that'll do it. That should do it for this project. Maybe a couple more.
Now, to get started, don't worry about checking the materials you have. If you don't have them on hand, you can run out like a mad chook and hope that they have something at the hardware store, like I did. Everything's fine. Step 2, maybe like test how you're going to glue it. Now, obviously recently, Neil from Real Terrain Hobbies made this incredibly handcrafted, beautiful artisan tavern that's built with every shingle paid loving attention to. I ain't got time for that. I admire the hell out of it, but I've got about 5 hours. So instead of using any glue that takes time to dry, I used super glue and an accelerator, so it dried instantly. Tested that on a few off-cut pieces of balsa wood, worked great. Let's just jump right into the main event. The next tip is don't measure anything unless you're an idiot or a craftsperson, I don't know. Holding the pieces of balsa wood up against the thing, I measured it with the thing I was putting it on. Sometimes I marked it, sometimes I just went for it. If there were gaps to fill, I filled them with other bits of wood. If I cut too short or needed to add more, I just cut a bit extra and just glued it on the end. The glue dried instantly, so filling gaps was no problem. Speaking of which, the super glue I used was a gap-filling super thick super glue, so all the better to make mistakes and fix them haphazardly. Now, even with a really complicated roof design like this one, using my little simple tricks makes it much easier to get the job done. With all of that glued in place, I reinforced it with hot glue from underneath, but I have to say this thing, just as a balsa base, was really solid and ready for shingles. Every row of shingles was put together with one row of hot glue very quickly, then slamming those shingles down, and with a full row done, running a bead of PVA along the top row of those shingles, wiping it flat with my finger, and then moving on to the next row. The hot glue to create an instant grab, but I'm not confident in the long-term grabbability of hot glue with balsa on wood, but that's where the PVA comes in. Just making sure every single row has a simple bead chucked on at the top so that over the next 24 hours it would fully cure and there would be a strong wood glue bond between all the shingles and the roof, which I knocked out real quick. In fact, the roof shape itself actually took the 3 hours. The shingles I got done in a couple of hours. Well, mostly done.
Hey Dave,
Yeah.
I got a present for you.
Oh my goodness, it's a roof. I'm impressed that you've managed to get the weird shape. Oh my gosh,
Doesn't that
it's
make a difference?
amazing.
I feel like this is where it all really starts to come together.
5th of 4 days now.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Jazz has just shown me the roof, which is awesome that he's put together on the weekend. And I made some progress over the weekend. We've wrangled it, so we sent Billy our footage last week. She's been working on it. Jeremy's cutting together more footage to send over, and it's kind of like this crazy production, but it's giving me hope, it's giving me faith. Morale is back up, and we're going to get this finished today. So, yeah, I'm not going to waste any more time.
Would you look at this? I cannot believe we actually put this together. I cannot believe we got it done. There was no hope. And like Jazza came in and did the roof, and that was just out of nowhere. The interior, I can peek through this window. Imagine us all sitting in there, having dinner. I love it. Make sure you go check out Hearthstone Mercenaries, the sponsor of this video. Through their support, we managed to get this one done, and we could bring this massive, huge project to you. And also our wonderful patrons. We shared the mini stream where we were working on this with our patrons, and their support and their rallying energy really helps us get these things done. So if you're interested in getting a little behind the scenes look and joining in our private Discord, make sure you check out our Patreon as well. And a final thank you has to be to the crew. I am so proud of everyone who was involved in this project and so thankful for all their effort getting it done. From the start with the CAD design with Jeremy, all the way through to Rob's knowledge of Warcraft, him sorting out the windows, to Jazza coming in and saving the day with the roof. It's been an amazing project, and I'm just excited for the next one now. Now I know it's kind of a tradition on the channel, but this time there's gonna be no awkward ending. I'm just too proud of what we've achieved, and it was too fun putting it together. So if you enjoyed the ride, like and subscribe. We're only gonna be going bigger and better in the future. And yeah, just a final thanks to everyone involved. Stoked.